broadcasting live from an undisclosed location in the universe. Welcome to Iggy Garcia Live, the show where metaphysics, holistic living, motivation, and inspiration come together to empower your mind, body, and soul. We will dive deep into the realms of metaphysical wisdom, exploring the fascinating connections between mind and matter. Get ready to ignite your inner spark and embrace a journey of self-discovery. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mind of Iggy. Iggy here. So wow, what a beautiful Friday. It's close. We're pushing 70, aren't we? I know we're in the 60s for sure. But man, it's a little overcast and the sun popping through the clouds. It's amazing out here. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I'm loving it. So, I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you're doing well. I hope that you're getting what you need to get out of today. Because if you can get outside, I recommend that you do, because it's beautiful out here. You can't ask for a better day. And so, anyways, here we go. You know me. I like to ask those hard questions sometimes that other people won't ask. But somebody's got to ask them sometimes. So, what I'm going to propose is this. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and I know everybody has their opinions and their beliefs about what they feel and how they feel about it, and I honor and respect that. I'm not here to prove anybody right or wrong, because that's not what I do. That's not what we should do. Regardless if you think you're right and regardless if you think I'm wrong, it doesn't really matter in the end, because I'm going to have my own thoughts, my own feeling, my own identity, my own mind, and so will you. So this is not an attempt to change your mind or make you think differently, but it's going to give you an opportunity to challenge yourself and to be able to express and see how other people are thinking outside and thinking differently. So, the topic is, let's ask our friends, let's ask our neighbors, who are either Venezuelan or Iranian or Palestinian, or Israeli, whatever you want to throw in there, whoever you want to ask. So my question is, those of you who are close to any of these current events, things that are happening right now, drop me a DM or come on here and talk with us, and I'll put you on. And tell me, do Americans have it wrong? Do we have it wrong? Or our protests, some of us who are protesting against the war, some of us who are protesting for the war, some of us who are indifferent. People from Venezuela, you know, their oil's been being taken for years, for over 27 years, by the Chinese and by the Russians. And all of a sudden, the United States is being accused of taking their oil. So I guess the question is, who do you want taking your oil? But anyways, that's just my opinion. That's just my little throw in there. Now, you go here and you look in Iran. Right now, you're seeing this is a hotbed, and this is a hot thing going on. There's a lot happening. There are people in there who are suffering. According to eyewitness accounts and reports in the news, you know, things that we have to disseminate and discern and put out and kind of sift through it. So if you are Iranian, Venezuelan, Palestinian, or anybody who wants to share here and give their opinion, even in context, in the comments, whatever, tell me how you feel. Tell me what's going on, what's happening, what's in your mind. I know I have Iranian friends for sure, and I know I definitely have Venezuelan friends because I've spoken to you. So if you find time and you feel like you want to share, do so. But it's a question. What do you feel right now? What are you feeling right now about what is happening in the world? What's happening in your countries? Is it justified? Not justified? You know, we take out one dictator, and then we have people here in this country calling the leader of our country a dictator. So a dictator taking out a dictator. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of funny. It's kind of strange. But anyhow, that's why I'm trying to kind of get the grasp of what other people are thinking. Not just me. I have my own beliefs. I have my ideas. You have your beliefs, your own ideas, but I want to hear it from the people who live among us, people who are in our circles, people who we know, and they're going to share. I haven't seen a whole lot on here, and you know, maybe it's just the algorithm pumping things through, and the things that I'm watching and listening to or talking about, they seem to be sending information in one direction or the other, because that's what it is. You talk about one thing, and they send you all kinds of advertisements. Are they doing the same thing about the topics that we're talking about? So, super important to try to get connected to people who are affected by these. We're all affected. because we're all in this together. There's no separation here. Was the regime bad? I need to know. I want to know from people. I'm going to, from the outsider looking in, from the outsider looking in, it looked pretty bad to me. You know, I heard that 30,000 students were killed, you know, or protesters were just killed indiscriminately without even thinking. True story, not story? I need to know. Why do I need to know? Because I need to know if, you know, the things that we're listening to, the things that we're hearing are true. You know, we talk about conspiracy theories, and all these conspiracy theories pop up all of a sudden, and they become real. I remember when the Epstein files was a conspiracy theory. I remember that. Some of you do too. When they talked about, oh, yeah, whatever. Nobody does that. Who ever heard of an island? Who ever heard of this? And all of a sudden, here we go. Here we are. And then our government, for many years, not just recent, not in the current government, is able to pinpoint and tell you, according to their systems, who's looking at pornography, who's looking at child porn, who's looking at this kind of porn or that kind of porn. And yet, nothing happens to them. You know, the United States has satellites that can spot things in a haystack, but we can't seem to find people. It's really weird, guys. I don't know what's happening. Who are we protecting? I'll tell you my idea who we're protecting. The reason a lot of these things don't come to light is because they're protecting each other. All of them are protecting each other, but there comes a point. Why are you protecting them? Now we have, I don't hear any of the motivational speakers or anybody talking about Deepak Chopra. Deepak looks like he's a little bit guilty there. I'm not the judge, the jury, or the executor. But the thing is, those documents are real. So where's the Tony Robbins of the world? Where's all these leaders who, you know, who worked with him, who were connected with him? Where are they? Why don't you speak up? You know, I come to the conclusion that they didn't want anybody to know about any of this stuff, so they played like this thing that Trump was the only one in the files, but we all know that he is in the files. But we also know that there's a lot of other people in the files: Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Whoopi Goldberg, Robert De Niro, all the people who hated Trump, right? All these people. I'm not saying Trump's innocent or guilty or whatever, because I don't know. You know, people tell me, oh, well, yeah, he's a pedophile. Well, you know, I don't know. I can't say that about his character because I don't know the guy. That's like me saying, though, this guy's a pedophile just because he looks at girls a certain way. Can't do that. The proof is in the pudding, right? If the files are there, and you're going to tell me, I know some of you are going to say, well, you know, they didn't release all the files. They redacted things. Sure they did. Why did they do that? Why? Do you know? It's an old boys club, man. And if you're not in the old boys club, you're gonna get it. And that's what we're witnessing today. We're watching the old boys club at play. And if you don't know what the old boys club is, you need to look it up, do a little research. But our neighbor, if you have an Iranian neighbor or Venezuelan friends, ask them, hey man, how you feel about this? What's going on? You know? But I'll tell you, I saw a video today about this lady. She's from Venezuela. And I have friends from Venezuela. And I hope they come on here and they share their thoughts, because I really want to get those thoughts, because I want people to feel. And sometimes people don't share because they just don't want to they just don't want to get connected to that. You know, it's like, but I watched this video. This woman, she's going, you know, us Venezuelans, I'm not Venezuelan, but she's saying us Venezuelans have been suffering for 27 years. And yet nobody even knows, can't even fathom what we're going through. And so now they were starving, eating out of trash cans. Is this true? I'm going to say probably. I don't know, but you know, that's why I'm putting the challenge out to people who are in our communities to validate these claims, to validate and say, hey, this happened. To validate people who are from Persia, you know, from Iran. I can always tell people who call it Persia and when they call it Iran. I can always kind of get a mix. I can kind of get that signal, what their background is, and that sense of how they look at their country. Most people who were born in the country of Iran refer to Persia, and those are the ones that are usually here. The Persian Empire was huge. But, my friends who are from Persia or from Iran, whatever you want to call it, whatever feels right to you in your heart, there are people who are, I don't know if we're waiting, but it might be a good idea to say, hey, set the record straight. As things are crumbling and falling apart. And the only people who can really speak about what's happening there are the people who are there, the people who witness. But like anything that you see, there are always going to be people who are pro that system too. And that's something that we have to be aware of. We have to understand that sometimes when we get the information, there are going to be people who are for the pro regime. And then there are people who are against it. The prince of Iran, the Shah, he's involved some way or another, and will he be the new leader? I don't know. I don't think so. This is my opinion, but I do believe that something's going to change, something's going to shift in that country. Is it right of us to bomb a country and do that things? It goes deeper than the surface. There's a lot of things that are underneath that, and I'm going to say one thing that not everybody's going to agree with me, but you need to really watch all the news outlets. Al Jazeera, you need to watch, BBC, you need to watch Fox, CNN, MSNBC. You need to watch it all to grab a piece of nugget off of all of them. Oh, but Fox is propaganda. Listen, they have their propagandist movement. Yes, they're Republicans. It's a very conservative network. Of course, you're going to call it propagandist if you're not a Republican, you're not a conservative or a moderate. But I implore you to watch all the news outlets, because you'll be surprised what you hear. I haven't been able to find a news outlet like a Russian outlet or anything to watch to get a different perspective. But I watch them all because I want a different perspective. I want to see what's really happening, who the real players are, who's really causing the problems. And right now I'm watching, and you know what? The European Union is looking like pretty, like they've got an agenda. They've got an agenda, And if you've been following the news, England didn't want to, they're one of their big insurance houses, one of their old firms, didn't want to insure the shippings and the cargoes of ships going through certain straits and certain seaports. The United States had to step in. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what we need to think about, the rooted things, what's really happening. Because most of us here, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Most of us are not from Iran or Venezuela or Palestinian. We do have friends from those areas, and I would like to hear from our friends from these areas and share with us their feelings, their concerns about what they are seeing, what they're witnessing. Are they happy that the United States went in there and bombed the crap out of, the leadership to move them out? Because reportedly, like I said earlier in this podcast, is that they went in there, the regime went in there and killing people, over 30,000. You got to remember, this is just 30,000 of millions of people that probably have been killed throughout the course of their reign. But I need to hear it. If you're pro-regime, speak up. If you're against the regime, speak up. The American people want to hear, because you know what? The American people want to be informed. We want to know. Those of us who want to know, those of us who feel like we should know, to make a educated decision. So when we go into the ballot box and we vote and we make our decisions, now we have primaries that are running right now, to get us into the midterm elections. And there are people who are incumbents who are losing. And why are they losing? We need to ask ourselves, why are they losing? Why aren't incumbents winning their seats to run for that particular office or other offices they want to win or obtain? I don't know, because in a primary, if you're a Democrat or Republican, and there's an incumbent Republican, and somebody wants to run against them, they have a runoff, a primary, nonpartisan primary, and then they go in there, they run, the people decide, and that's the key word: the people decide. It doesn't matter. Anything else doesn't matter. It's the amount of us. But historically, most people don't vote in primaries. Most people don't get involved into the system unless it's major general election for president, or some kind of election that, which is the November election. But in the primaries, the turnout is very small, usually. And you're going to say, Iggy, how do you know this stuff? I ran for office, man. For those of you who know me, I ran for a congressional seat, 15th district here in the United States, here in Columbus, Ohio, for a U.S. Congress years ago, many lifetimes ago. So I kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about. It's not like I know everything, but I have an idea. So, we're not to get too concerned with too political about it. If you lose in the primary, it's because your constituents didn't vote for you, or you didn't get enough constituents to come out and support you. The math is pretty easy. You had support or no support, and no matter how they rig the maps or gerrymander, whatever you think you call it rigged, it's still your party. It's still your people. Your people are still voting for you. It's not like these things don't happen. Now, I'm going to get to another topic. The topic is, we need voter ID. Yeah, we do need voter ID. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you a personal story that are probably going to shock you, and it's probably going to surprise you. For many years, my dad, who was, we're going to just call him, because the term in those days was illegal alien, or now we refer them to undocumented people. My dad, and I'm pretty sure my mom, because she usually followed suit, he voted in city elections, general elections, presidential elections, and he didn't have ID. Or maybe he did. Maybe it was falsified. I don't know. I don't know my dad in those days. I was a kid. But I do know he voted, because as you grow up and you get older and you ask questions and you say, how did you vote? How were you able to vote? You're not even a citizen. So my dad, I'm going to show you. That's how. Does voter fraud exist? Yes, because unfortunately in my family, and I'm sure my uncles voted too, there was voter fraud. And voter fraud is when you're not a citizen, you're voting in a general election. Nothing to be proud of per se, but they wanted to be part of the system. I will say this about my dad. He wanted to be an American so bad that he'd do whatever it takes in that aspect to even vote. And how did he get in there? I don't know. My dad ran for mayor of Columbus when I was a teenager, okay? Mayor of Columbus. And this is what caused him his immigration perils, okay? He got on the ballot, but then they disqualified. Well, I don't know if he's disqualified because they let him run as a write-in, so he probably didn't have enough votes. But I think they compromised and they gave him a write-in candidate vote. And so he ran as a write-in candidate against Buck Reinhardt, because Buck Reinhardt was accused of molesting some girls. So my dad had all kinds of dirt on people, because that's my dad. I'm going to tell you, my dad worked for the government. My dad worked for the CIA. Even as a person who was undocumented, yes, he did. And I know this because I met all these people. Do they use people like my dad? Do they use people who are undocumented? Absolutely they do. Okay. Are you surprised to hear this stuff? You shouldn't be surprised. This is the United States of America. The United States of America does whatever it takes to be the first, to be on top, and to protect its borders, to protect its people. Even when its people don't want to be protected, even when its people think that we're overstepping our bounds. So they will do whatever they have to do. So back to my dad. So he ran for office as a write-in candidate for Columbus. I have his t-shirt. I have an old t-shirt of his. And so what am I trying to say here? What's Iggy trying to say? Well, I'm trying to say that you need voter ID. I think it's a right. Listen, I'm a United States citizen, a naturalized citizen, and I earned that right to be that because the government saw me fit to be one. It wasn't like, hey, we're just going to give it to you because you've been here forever. You did it the right way. Even though you did it the right way, they still have to look at you and go, is this guy good for our country? Is this guy viable? And my sibling, my sister Rosa and I got to stay. My dad got to stay. My dad even got to stay. But it triggered a deportation. After my dad got on the ballot, and he voted, that triggered a deportation. I remember when they busted into the restaurant and they served us. Back then they just served you. Hey, you need to show up in court, blah, blah, blah. We didn't get arrested, but it brought a lot of problems to my dad. Children's services got involved. All this stuff got involved. My sisters got removed from the house. Listen, when they want to screw you, they will screw you. Okay? The powers above, screw you. I remember there was illegal adoptions going on here in North Columbus by certain wealthy people. And this is one reason that my dad got into politics in the way he did, because there was a lot of under shady hand thing going on. If you dig deep and you follow my crumbs without giving away too much, you can find out. There's some of the players who are in Epstein files. I've met those people as a kid, not intentionally. Just the time when my parents owned a restaurant, it was just a hot place to be. And there have been many people who are actors and politicians who've come to Garcia's for years. Les Wexner's been there. Was Epstein there? I don't quite remember him. I can't say that he wasn't there, because I wasn't always there, because I had to go to school, I had to go to bed. But all this stuff is connected. All this is connected. So I'm glad that the Epstein files got exploded and people are held accountable for that, because they should. Because these people suffered. These people suffered at the hands of ultra wealthy, rich people. Not to incriminate or to say that these people did anything, but the Clintons were there, the Obamas were there, all these people were there, every single one. Pretty much everybody that you could probably think of was probably there. What were they doing there? Some people may have been there just out of, because it was the place to be. And that's probably what it was. It was the thing to do. It was the place to be. It's who you were connected to back then. It's your networking. And then you know what happens? You get sucked into this thing. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm going to say it's wrong when you know that you're hurting innocent people. That's when it's wrong. Having connections and being connected to people isn't wrong. What's wrong is when you start doing the same things they're doing and abusing and hurting other people. That's wrong. That's when you should be held accountable. That's when they should say to you, you know what, you have to be responsible for that. And you're going to pay the price for that. Will these people go to jail? Will these people, what's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know. And quite frankly, we're just all in it together and we're watching this play out. Listen, them bombing Iran has nothing to do with trying to cover up the Epstein file, because people are working on that. The media goes where whatever's hot, so they'll follow whatever the trail is. Now, I hope that all the people who hurt people are held accountable. They should be held accountable. Deepak Chopra, Ellen, Whoopi, Robert De Niro, Clinton, even Trump. If Trump is found to be a pedophile, then he should pay the price too. Is he? I don't know. I don't know if any of these people are. But regardless, if they're found to be this, then they should all go to jail. They should all serve time. They should all be responsible. They should all be marked, with their scarlet letter or with a big P on their chest, saying that they hurt children. What I don't understand is how people can do this stuff and how people can think it's okay to hurt a child and to just do the atrocities that they do. Impregnate these girls. I've seen videos where girls are impregnated with their kids. What happened to those babies? I have no clue. I have no idea. I try to go and see these videos and these pictures, these images, these emails. I had to stop. Because it was too much. It's too much to think that other humans would do this to other humans. That they would hurt people so badly just to get off or just to prove that they can and get away with it and think they can get away with it. Now, who is the whistleblower? I don't know. Trump tries to take credit for that. Is he? I don't know. It doesn't matter. The whistle's blown and these people are exposed. Just found out that Adam Sandler's wife's father was also a trafficker, and he hung himself in jail, very similar to Epstein. All this stuff starts coming out. You can't hide it. It doesn't matter how much money you have and how much you want to redact things and put. And now I hear that they have like these special lawyers and these special private investigators who have hidden more files, more documents and stuff. So it's like, whoa, man. What the heck is going on here? What is this crap? But I'm going to tell you something. This isn't anything new. This has been going on for decades, for centuries. hundreds of years. The elites, the rich, and remember, that's why they call them the 1%ers, because 1% controls 99% of everything. Remember, slave owners were the rich people. It wasn't you and me, the common person who was just trying to get by. I wouldn't have owned a slave. I couldn't have afforded it. I wouldn't want to anyhow. But it's the wealthy. It's the very ultra wealthy people. The people who believe they're untouchable, like Bill Gates, for example. He thinks he's untouchable. Jeff Bezos, they all think they're untouchable. But you know what? When you hurt enough people and you damage enough people and you say some things that just opens wounds to people, it all eventually comes out. And I watched I watched this video today too, where they were just talking about how they tell you right in front of your face, this is what's happening. But now we have the tools to understand, to know what they're saying. Back then we didn't. We just laughed. Bob Saget, one of his shows, they had the baby came in. Oh, look, we got a little pizza. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, how did I miss that? Well, we missed it because we didn't have the information. We weren't informed at the time. We didn't understand that people actually do this to people. We knew that people hurt people. We knew that people did things to people, but we didn't realize it was that deep. But where do we move on from here? The question is, how do we move forward? Now that we're all splintered and fractured and all angry at each other, bothered and frustrated, just because we think in absolutes. They want us to think in absolutes. They want us, the common people, to be thinking absolutes. Oh no, this is how it is. No, that's what happened. That's what's going on. My friends, it's not like that. It's not that easy. There's a lot of fear mongering going on. There's a lot of stuff that's going on that we have to see beyond the veil, beyond this make-believe wall that they create. And how do we do that? When we're being given information and ingesting it and digesting it, because we think that they wouldn't lie to us. And that's where the problem is, where we don't think they would lie to us. Well, I hate to break the news to you. They will lie to you. They've been lying to you. They will lie to us till the end of time. Listen, I'm a firm believer that there's cures for some of the diseases we have in the world, but it's not profitable for them to give it to you. Now we're going down the slope of, conspiracy theories. But it's a theory, nonetheless, it's still a theory, regardless if it's a conspiracy. It's still a theory, or it wouldn't have that word in there. And you know what? And I do believe that the pharmaceutical companies and these big conglomerates control the world. We may not feel it because we're in our little bubbles, our little caves. I'm sitting here on my desk, my table, in my backyard on almost a 70-degree day in March. First week of March, and it's like almost 70 degrees. And I'm sitting in my comfort zone. And we all have our comfort zone. We're all comfortable. Listen, most people don't say too much unless it's totally, absolutely interfering or wrecking their lives. And I'm going to go just as far to say that most of you here, yeah, I'm sure you're concerned about what's going on with Iran. I'm sure you're concerned about the Epstein files and the people who are in there. But does it really affect you? I mean, when you really break it down, is it really warping your world? Or are you just allowing it to warp your world? There's a difference. It's easy for us to say, oh, that's wrong. But you know what? After we talk about it, when we get off the line here, we're all going to go back to what we were doing. We're going to go back to our Facebook. We're going to go cruising. We're going to go take a walk. We're going to go to the store. We're going to go get our dog. And we're going to do our laundry, maybe clean the house. Maybe go take a walk. It's a beautiful day today. We have it good here. We have it very good here in this country. We don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. Sure, we got to work, and sure, we got to, produce and be able to pay our bills and stuff. But what I'm talking about is I can talk to you and not feel threatened that someone's going to come barraging through my door because I'm saying something. Those things are changing in some other countries where I can't even have this conversation because some people would be offended by what I'm saying, because it would be saying that, oh, that they're wrong. But you know what? It's good to be here. Yes, I agree with that. JC, I agree with that. I'm going to tell you, we have it good. Even the poorest people here in America have it good. At least they have someone giving them a handout. But in some countries, they actually help the poor. You know? But I'll tell you, no matter how bad you think you got it, somebody else has got it worse. There are people right now wondering if they're going to live tomorrow in Iran, in a shelter somewhere, as bombs fall. There are people who are in Venezuela who are sitting in their homes going, what's going to happen tomorrow? Will I see tomorrow? I was against the people. I was with the government. Will those people remember that I was like that? You know, one man's salvation is another man's detriment. There are people, all of these regimes, who made lots of money off these regimes. And you know what? They're going to have to pay the piper. It could be politically, socially, physically. You come at them and remind them, you turned your back on us. You know, I would love to see the world a beautiful place. I'd love to see everybody get along. I'd love to see, but you know what? There are bad players in the world. There are malicious players who don't care about you and me. We're just a number. We don't even exist to them. We're not even alive to them. We're just a social security number with a foundation to withdraw or take loans off our backs. That's all we are to some people. We're just a commodity. I posted that the other day about people being a commodity. Listen, we're consumer, we're commodities too. You know, so it's I wish I was coming with better news. I wish I was coming here and going, oh, you know what, this world, you know, it's going to be great. But it is great. It's good to be here. It is great. Because I can sit on my chair right now and tell you how I'm feeling about what's rolling around in my mind that can change tomorrow in the next 5 minutes. I'm grateful to be in this country, in the United States of America. As fucked up as some things are, excuse my language, but some things are screwed up. And then some things are amazing. I have some of the most amazing acquaintances and friends, family, connections. And to be able to sit here and be able to share my thoughts with you without fear, without, you know, trepidation that something would happen to me. That's so good. It's amazing. Somebody the other day, because I posted something online, someone goes to me, well, when ICE comes knocking your door, listen, stop fear mongering, dude. ICE ain't going to come knock on my door. I have no reason to have ICE knock on my door. ICE is looking for criminals. ICE is looking for people who are undocumented, people who come to this country. Listen, ICE already came to my door years ago. Back then, it was just immigration. That's all we called it. It was immigration. La migra. They already came to my family's door. And they found us viable to be here. So when I sit here, I'm grateful and thankful that I got the opportunity to prove that I'm a good United States of American citizen. I'm already American because I was born in South America. I'm born in Peru. But I get to prove that this country, I value it, that it's valuable to me, I'm valuable to it. And then whatever legacy I leave behind, whatever voice, whatever thought I leave behind, hopefully it helps empower the next person to do better than I did. Listen, I own restaurants, I own businesses over the years, and you know what? That didn't bring me joy. You know what brought me joy? My drumming, connecting, creating community. Listen, people talk about villages, and villages kind of creep me out. Because in the village, everybody has a role. And if you don't live up to the role of the villagers, you can become the court jester very quickly. But you talk to me about building community, that's different. That's different. In a community, you belong. In a community, you are there. It takes a community to raise a family, not a village. Because a village should never supersede what the parents are saying. But a community can say, hey, listen, you know what, bro? We love you, but you can't be here. Or we love you, bro. We accept you. But in a village, they will hold on to you and they will put you in the corner and ostracize you. How do I know this? Because the people who use that term a lot do that to other people, and I've seen it. And I've seen it done to me. That's why I'm a community builder, not a village builder. And those of you who disagree with me, that's fine. That's your choice. But I'm here to build community, not villages. Because I know what happens to villages. Okay? Because in a community, there are multiple leaders who'd come together with their thoughts and opinions and thoughts and merge and say, hey, listen, for the moment, I'll let you lead. For the moment, you're going to lead. For the moment, we're all going to lead together. But in a village, it doesn't work that way. In a village, it doesn't work that way. That's why, for me, I remember my dad teaching me that very quickly and really fast. Moving aside, going back to what we started off with, what I was talking about is I want to hear from my Iranian friends, my Persian friends, my Palestinian friends, my Venezuelan friends. If you have stories to share about how you feel about what's going on, let's hear it. If you're up to it, I'm inviting you. This is my invitation to share your feelings, your thoughts on my posts, on my timelines, on this. If you see this later, or if someone shares this with you, the point is to be able to get the perspectives of people who were actually feeling this and what it meant to them. Now you have Cuba, the Cubans. There's something going to go on there. Why? Because I can feel it. Where are my Cuban friends? I want to hear you guys too. Anybody who's been oppressed, anybody who's been in an oppressed situation, I want to hear it. Because when you think about it, when people migrate or when people, seek asylum into the countries, there's a reason why they left. There's a reason why they were forced out. So I want to hear why. I want to hear your opinions. Because if your countries are so great and so beautiful, so amazing, why are you here? I know why I'm here. I really had no choice. I was 4 years old. But I'm grateful to be here. It's good to be here. My parents made the decision for the family to put us in this community, which we call the United States of America, and to grow in it, to learn from it. Listen, I go back to Peru. It's a beautiful country and I love it, but it's a whole different world for me now that I am where the age I am. I'm 59, so it's like, this is my home. This is my place. This is my people. This is where I raise my family. This is where I most possibly will take my last steps and my last breath. And I love it here. Have I seen it all? No. But I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful for this place. Oh, Iggy, you're pro-American. Hell yes, I am pro-American. Why wouldn't I be? Why wouldn't I be grateful for the country that gave me everything that I have? Oh, I didn't give you anything. Yes, it did. It gave me the opportunity to be able to move in directions that I wouldn't maybe not be able to move where I came from. Here you can be dirt, nothing, and become something. You can't do that just anywhere. And if you do, it takes a lot of gumption, a lot of work. But here, today, if I wanted to go out and sell something, make money, I can go down the street corner, park my car, take out all my old clothes, and start my little flea market and sell as much as I can until the authorities come and say, you need to move your car and move on to the next block. I can hold a sign that says, I'm broke, poor, and I need some money because I can't work or whatever. I'm able to do that without infringement. I'm also able to go and say, hey, you know what? I got $100 in my pocket. What kind of business can I start today? Where can I go next? It's just our minds. It's our spirit, our soul, our drive. What can motivate us and put us into these right frame of mind, these right energies. It's not so much that You can't. It should be more than how will I. It's just a will, a desire to do the things you want to do in this country. Nobody's holding you back. No one's holding me back. No one's got a gun to my head or tied me up in a dark room and says you're not going to make it. Not for me, at least. Listen, if you want to make it in this country, you have every opportunity like anybody. Black, white, Chinese, it don't matter where you're from. You can't use this thing that because the white man holds me down crap. Because that's a bunch of crap. Listen, I'm not a white man. I'm a Latino, Native indigenous man who happens to look white because I'm mestizo, because I have mixed European blood in me. But I'm 40% indigenous, man. I'm very proud of that too. You know, I'm Indian, you know, and everybody else who falls into that category is the European side of me and the African side of me, the Jewish side of me, all that mixture in there. But this poor meism crap is why some of us are stuck. Get out of the poor meism, move forward. You might have to bust your ass much longer than the next person until you get it right. You might be the inspiration for somebody to do something. Just because your goals may or may not be matched, somebody else gets the drive built inside them. Say, he's doing it, and they become huge and big, and you can say, "Wow, that guy did it." It looks like my stuff, but you know what? When you put it out in the universe, when you create and you plant that seed's germinating. If you don't follow up on it, somebody else goes, "I'm going to water this plant. I'm going to water that seed until it grows into this huge, beautiful crop, or this big, huge, beautiful sunflower." Listen, we're creating all the time, and we're also erasing the board all the time. The old saying, "There's nothing new under the sun," is a true, true statement. Because what man thinks it becomes. So wherever your thoughts and energy are, that's what you should become. That's what you will do. When you go into those deep, dark crevices of your mind, where are you really going? What's really happening there? Ask yourself sometime, what are you really seeing? What is it that's really happening to you? Self-reflection is important. Listen, I'm a firm believer that anybody can make it. Anybody can do it. If they ask for help, trust the process, understand there's pros and cons to everything you do, and be flexible to change and shift. And that's probably the biggest thing. That so many people get stuck that it's got to be this way. Sometimes you got to go around the river, or float down the river, or fly over the river to get where you need to be. There's a thousand ways to get where you want to be. And if you get stuck that the only way you can get to that side is by scuba diving and going underwater, and that's the only way you're going to do it, then you're only going to get those successes from that. And how far does that take you? I don't know. But be flexible. Be open-minded. Be able to flow through the current. Be able to fly over the trees. Be able to move with ease. Pay attention to the weather forecast. Pay attention to, the things that are right in front of us. Listen, you all have the same amount of time on the clock that I do. We all have 24 hours to do whatever we want to do. Usually 6 to 8 hours of that is we're sleeping to recharge our batteries. But we all have the same amount of time, the same amount of days, same amount of opportunities. Oh, but you don't have the opportunity. Yeah, you have the opportunity. You just don't see it because somebody told you didn't. Somebody wanted you to keep you down with them. As soon as you believe that you can do it, but you got to have a plan. You can't just half-heartedly go out there and try things. You really got to have a good plan, a good scheme on what you're going to do things. But the word of the day is flexibility. You have to be flexible. You have to be able to move in multi directions, or you're going to be stuck. Listen, the people who are in Venezuela, who are in Iran right now, who have been liberated, in my belief, this is my belief, they've been liberated from something that's been oppressive for them for years. This is the right way of doing it. That's a whole different topic. But I'm talking about the liberation aspect. Now that you're liberated, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Where do you go from here? What's next? Are you just going to wait for the United States to show you the way, or are you going to make your way, pave your way? Are you going to get involved with the system? Is there a chance that you may die in the process of getting your liberation? Is that not enough, or is that too much? So these are very serious questions to ask. As I sit here cushy in my chair, on my deck, on the sun shining on my face, not to worry about anything, because I can go back inside and drink my coconut water and get back on my computer and finish writing my book, because, I'm blessed. God has blessed me, and I'm taking advantage of the blessings that are given to me each and every day. You know what the number one blessing for me is every day when I wake up? Taking that first breath. I've been breathing the whole night. I mean, when you wake up and you go, when you're back into your kind of senses and you're like, oh, I'm still here. What can I do today? It's not always like that. But you know what? I wake up and I go, wow, I have an opportunity to do something today. I have an opportunity to make a difference in my own personal life. It may affect thousands or one person, thousands or even one person. And I live by that motto. If I help one person heal, then I've done my job. If I help thousands of people heal, then I've done my job. If I've healed, I've done my job. Why do I believe that? Because it's not about how many people you're healing. It's about the quality and not the quantity. It's the forever lasting impression that you give, and it's imprinted on someone's heart about who you are. And I don't go out looking for that. I just know that if I do the right things, I'm going to encounter the right energies, the right people. Listen, I'm pretty, I have bills just like all of us, and sometimes I go, man, how am I going to pay my bills? But the good Lord finds a way. The good Lord finds a way. My Creator finds a way. He or she, because I don't know anything. But I know the Creator looks out for me. Not because I'm special, not because, because I'm doing anything magical, but because I'm appreciative of the gifts that are given to me. Listen, I'm not the world's best singer. I'm not the world's tallest man, far from that. I can drum, I can do some things. So I take advantage of the gifts I have. Some of you on here know how to do more, are better musicians than I am. And you know what? God's given you that gift to do things. Use it. Take advantage of it. I don't know what that means to you. Only you know what that means. But whatever you do, just do and be the best version of yourself. And if you have friends from Iran, you have friends from, Palestine, friends from, Ukraine, ask them how they feel about all this stuff. Get their true story from them and their families who are there. Because you'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot from them when they share with you. Because you're going to have a mixed bag of responses and feelings and emotions about it. As you should. As you should. You should get a whole bunch of different responses and feelings and emotions about what's going on. The opinions we have are only from what we can gather, and we can draw in from others, and what's fed to us, and what's we regurgitate, and what we allow to come through our rose-colored glasses, and how we digest all that information through our processing system. There's our brain and our heart, and then we put it out. So we want to know what's going on and how the world really feels. Ask people from those regions how they feel and what's going on in their heart. It's just like your neighbors, the American people you live with, the people who are your neighbors. Ask them how they feel. Just because you may not like the policies and the administration things, they may love it. Does that make them wrong? No. Because in the end, we all know that these leaders, when they move on, they're gone. It's over. We move on. Let's not destroy friendships because for the moment we are processing in a certain direction, a certain way. When we get to that place where we can come back and heal old wounds, that means that we're much greater, much wiser in our days. But if we stay angry and frustrated because we were thinking a certain way, what have we truly learned? I don't know. What did we truly learn? But I'll tell you one thing. Just be the best version of yourself that you can be at any given moment. Because I'll tell you right now, there's There's many things that I know for sure. We were born and we're going to die. And we couldn't get away from being born. It just happened. We can't get away from dying. That's going to happen. None of us here listening to this podcast, nobody listening to me or sharing your thoughts, none of you get out of here on a free pass to stay alive forever. None of us. We're all going to perish. We're all going to go back to the earth. But what we can do in the moment is be present and enjoy whatever's in the middle between birth and death. What we can create in there and what we can leave behind for our children, for our grandchildren. Even when we create something for them, there's no guarantee that what we created they wanted. Wealthy people create wealth for their children, and then their children squander it, and then their great-grandchildren don't have nothing. But yet again, the cycle starts again because it's in their blood to figure out how to do it. But there's no guarantee, no matter what I say or do, there's no guarantee my grandkids are going to be better off from what I say or don't do. But knowing that I can do it for them and give them the opportunity to see me fight and to be present and to be in the moment is good enough for me. Knowing that they have the opportunity to be whatever they want to be, do whatever they want to do, and nobody tell them that they can't do it. And the only thing that holds them back is whatever's inside their head, whatever they collected, whatever traditions they created and put there. That's the only thing that I have no control over. But you guys just know that when I say it's good to be here, it's always good to be here. Because we live in a country that gives us a lot of opportunities to do a lot of good stuff. Listen, if you went to school and you graduated and you have a job, that's a great opportunity. If you have your own business and you're in this country, that's a good opportunity. What you do with those opportunities is up to you. Listen, there's going to be a lot of people coming into this country who are displaced. And they're trying to find their way. And they're going to have a hard time assimilating. But remember, we're not a melting pot. We're a salad bowl. And all of us are the pieces of the salad. We come here with our looks, our desires, our feelings, our emotions, and we're all integrated together. We all are part of the system. We're all part of the bowl, part of the U.S., but yet we still can hold our identity without entrapping and without causing harm to other people. And that's what's super important. Never do harm, cause harm to others. Because what you do to another, you do yourself. You're just creating your own demise when you do that. So be the best part of the salad you can be. And when the dressing hits us all, we're all bathed in it. The old melting pot theory was that we had to assimilate and we had to be a certain way. But you know what's so funny about the melting pot? How does that work? How's that truly possible? If we all melt into this goo of existence, that this is how we're going to be, what have we become? Which part of the cheese, which part of the melt is stronger than the other? We want to believe that, we can be this or that. But in the salad bowl, you can be part of America and be the tomato, be the lettuce, be the cucumber, be the dressing. And then we can leave the bowl and still not lose ourselves, but knowing that we can still be part of it. I'm Iggy Garcia. I appreciate you guys listening to my talk today. Visit me on YouTube. Look for IggyGarcia.com for my webpage there. But go to YouTube. You can subscribe to my YouTube page. You can hit the subscribe bell there. Anyways, I'm also on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. Definitely here on Facebook. So I hope you enjoyed my Mind of Iggy talk today. I hope that it gave you some hope to see things differently. But I do believe that we have to move into a direction, that gives us a better outlook of this world. Better place to think about stuff. But Iggy Garcia Live is my show, and sometimes this becomes my show, Iggy Garcia Live show, because I'm just caught in the spur of the moment and caught in that rhythm that needs to be heard and need to hear what comes out of my mouth before I lose it. I know that it's uncomfortable sometimes to hear some of the things I say, and I know some of you guys personally, and I appreciate you guys greatly. You've changed my life. You've inspired me, and I hope to inspire other people the same way. If you enjoyed my show, drop me a line, let me know, leave a comment. And, I'll be at the Reiki Center tomorrow, March 7th, at 7 p.m. at Drum Circle. So those of you who can come drum with me, come drum. Let's have some fun. Let's enjoy. And at the end of the month, actually, I will be in Hillsborough again on the 27th. And before that, I'm going to be at the Gift of Light Expo on the 14th and 15th. I'm going to be there with my friend Jeremy and Safe and Sound. And so all the practitioners from Safe and Sound, we're going to be there. So I hope to see you guys soon. Be well. Come and check out our booths. They're parked up together. We're going to do some amazing stuff. And if you want to drum with us on stage, get there before doors open. Let them know you're going to be coming for the drumming. And you can drum with us. Take care, guys. Be well. It's good to be here. Irisikwi. What is above is below. And I will see you next time on Iggy Garcia Live in the Mind of Iggy. Talk to you soon. Peace out, guys. Take care.